Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Srimad Bhagavatam Canto Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, and welcome to all the devotees online. Thank you very much for your presence and keen interest to associate with Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. Very, very important. And in today's session, we will address why it is important. Canto 3, Chapter 1, verses 35 to 45, the status quo. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pastatyada Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sarva Shastra Piyusha Sarva Vedeka Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokayatrit Prada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavato Prabhu Kalidando Didaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churn from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O light breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actual Lord Krishna who has returned amongst us. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshasha Rayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namaste. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisance unto you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone for your incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madekabandhu mat sangem mad guru man mahadana man nishtaraka mad bhagya mad ananda namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, my teacher, my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisance unto you. Sadhu sadhu tadai natini chochataraka hanumancha kada chinmam premna rit katiyospura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O give us saintliness unsaintly, O uplift to the very fallen. Please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest Mahatma truth, accompany pure love of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yatonvayadi Taratas Charte Swabhigna Swarat Tene Brahma Hidayadi Kavaye Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatrati Sargo Mrisha Damna Swena Sada Nirastakwakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of the Spirit, O pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion as one is bewildered by illusory representation of water seen in fire, land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Prayana Upasha Sabya Kalabasmin Yuga Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagyopadrata. O learned one, in this iron age of calling many but short lies, the quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Narayana Namaskritya Narachevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance to the personality of God and Narayan, unto Narendra Vishnu, the supermost human being, and the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasa, the author. Sabai pumso paro dharmo yato bhaktira dokshije. Haitukiya pratiyata yet masuprasiddhati. The supreme occupation, dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Yatsu Ragyam Dhyanam Yachad Ahitukam. By rendering of devotional service unto the person of the Godhead, Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires causes knowledge and detachment from the world. Vedanti tattva vidas tattvam yats gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Shrushushushadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchisyan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyartita Nishevanat. Otherwise born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shranvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ryadantostavya Badrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Shri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who's developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. Nasta prasha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatutam aslokher bhaktir bhavini nashtiki. By regular attendance to the class of the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome with the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the person of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs established as an irrevocable. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Bhyam Saraswadharmam Parinishtaya Janmalabha Parapum Samante Narayana Smriti. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Akama sarva kama vamoksha kama udari tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham paramas. Person who has broad intelligence, where they be full of all material desires, without any material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing based on Srimad Bhagavatam, based on the teachings, continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, based on the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna, and welcome again. Let us cover any feedback that one has from last week's session. Anything that comes to your mind from last week's session, please share that in the chat. Anything that caught your attention during the week that related to the Bhagavatam, please share that in the chat. Namagati and Nalimikanta are not here. They generally post first to post. I hope you have some feedback. Afana says, it really makes sense why Vidura left. Not sorry. Otherwise, the two guys were bad, Duryodhan and his friend. Yeah, bad. So, bad association. Asat Sangya Tyag, a Vaishnavachar. Vaishnav, he does not stay in bad company. So, yes. So that was a wise move, not to be sorry. If we attached to bad association, that is going to influence. And that bad association could be immediate family members. It could be our iPhone. It could be social media. It could be our close dependents. It could be anyone and anything. We find in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, he emphasizes this point of association. that if one associates with the three modes of material nature, the lower modes especially, you're going to be influenced. Only someone who is a Mahabhagavat is able to be around negative association and not be influenced. And if one is not a Mahabhagavat, then do not take it lightly, because that association is already influencing you. You don't need to come into a negative environment and say, okay, I think I'm going to prevent myself. The fact that you are not pure means as soon as you come in, the influence is already there. You may not even know it. And before long, you will then realize that you have deviated because of negative association. Srila Prabhupada was able to go into an environment. Prabhupada, in his song that he wrote in America, he makes it very clear that, my Lord, I don't know why you brought me in this environment that is plagued, infused with the lower modes. But you definitely have a plan. So Prabhupada was able to go into an environment that is completely surcharged with the lower modes. It's like the epitome. America was, and I guess even still, or most of the countries, they're the epitome of lower modes, especially passion and ignorance. So if one is going in that environment and not shielded by purity, transcendental, transcended the modes, the influence is there. That's for sure. So Vidura, he was a pure devotee, and he was in the pastimes of the Lord. So he's moving according to the desire and the wish and the will of the Lord. Madhula Hare Krishna. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So we mentioned this point. It's interesting how Prabhupada, this is like the third canto, first chapter. And Prabhupada places this, like most esoterical statement that you will find. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Right there in the purport. And if somebody is thoughtful, it's going to start triggering. Like, hold on, Krishna is God. His home is Vrindavan, where he's not God. And he never leaves Vrindavan. What is all this about? It's going to start triggering questions. You want to know more. Krishna went to Mathura, Dwarka. Probably saying, no, Krishna didn't leave Vrindavan. Well, then who went? So it starts to trigger further inquiries about Krishna. Mother says, we should want to be in the association of Krishna in his dancing party. Yes. What desires are we cultivating? Because Bhagavad Gita makes it very clear. According to your desire, that's your destination. We fell to this material world due to desire. We can go back due to desire. And Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports are directing us to refine, resuscitate, give us the new desires that we need, new aspirations, new greed that we need to develop, spiritual desires, spiritual greed. I want to be in Krishna's dancing party. I want to be in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. Imagine being there in Srivasangam, in that nocturnal kirtans of Lord Chaitanya. So we want to have those desires. So yes, we want to be in Krishna's dancing party. Shamananda Prabhu said, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hearing how Vidura was asking about the welfare of all these personalities is really amazing and sweet, showing the affection he has for them and longing to meet with them, although knowing so much has happened also Vidura is reminding us of these persons, giving us a chance to remember them and hear about them. And Srila Prabhupada also sharing more of them. Yes. And we see this throughout the Bhagavatam. Because these personalities are not ordinary. They're not ordinary. They're not like historical personalities of this material world. Historical personalities of this material world, as Prabhupada says, they end up just as a list of names with no backing, no potency, because they don't exist right now. They transient, they fickle. They're not substantial. But spiritual personalities, especially those who are eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, they are eternal. They exist beyond time. Therefore, as soon as you remember them, there's a connection, there's a power, there's a potency, there's purification, there's blessing, there's mercy. So through Vidura, who's recollecting all these personalities, Krishna becomes pleased. Gaur Krishna's Babaji Maharaj makes this point that if you had to call Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what would be the best name to call upon the Lord? Because any name of the Lord is purifying. Nam Chintamani Krishna's Lord, the Lord's name is Nam Chintamani. It is like a touchstone. It is purifying. It is complete, Purno, Suddho, Nitya Mukto. It's complete, liberated. So when we associate with the holy name, we get purified. But to please the Lord even more, Srila Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj says we should call upon the Lord's name in relation to his close associates. Like if you say Gaura, Gauranga, then that's wonderful. But if you say Jai Sachinandan, that means somebody connected to Mother Sachi. That personality who's connected to Mother Sachi, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then that invokes, Lord, gives more pleasure to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And him recollecting these personalities is also very, very wonderful. It's like Krishna's family, Krishna's entourage. All right. Motherless, Krishna is so merciful. When he does leelas, the devas are given opportunity to see him, serve him, and get an opportunity to transcend to the spiritual world if Krishna wishes. Yes. And there's even pastimes where most of the demigods, they're able to come. They're able to come into Krishna's pastimes. When Krishna is appearing, then different demigods are there. They can even appear. The personality that has great difficulty seeing Krishna is Shanidev. Because whoever he glances upon, whoever he glances upon, then the karmic cycle, karmic reaction, the prarabdha karma takes effect very powerfully. So when Shani Dev tries to come to Vrindavan, he gets blocked, he gets stopped. And there's different pastimes like that related to Krishna. But yes, all the demigods, they're able to come and participate. And here's the amazing thing. We were just talking about how association, negative association, can lead to negative influence and impact. The demigods know Krishna is appearing. Lord Brahma knows, Indra knows. And yet, when Krishna appears, they get bewildered over time. And yes, in one sense, it's Krishna's pastimes to show us the power and again the influence that Maya can cover. So therefore, we should be very, very cautious and careful. Bafana says, I understand the reason why Krishna descends to get rid of such miscreants as Duryodhana and associates. Or life in Vrindavan is so simple. Love is easy flowing. Everyone serving from where they are. So fascinating seeing Krishna taking breaks, leaning in the bamboo small tree. Purport says it's indicative of the universe resting on Lord Krishna. Not to mention the position of his father and with so many cows. It's as if I see Krishna in his position as coward boy and his friends. One other point that caught my attention was the goal, which is to get the personal association of the Lord. That is the goal of all aspiring devotees. Yes. Robert says, the goal of those who are on the path of transcendence, their goal is to associate with the personnel, to be a personal associate of Krishna. So really it's about being in the presence of Krishna. This is what we want. And yes, Krishna in Vrindavan, very, very sweet, very intimate, no awe and reverence. Ray Prabhu says, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, hearing about Krishna surely is life-giving water. Shravanadi Jal, the water that we drink through our ears. And this quenches the heart, this goes to the heart. Without sufficient Shravanadi Jal, without sufficient drinking, just like we may be thirsty. Or let's give this example. You are in the desert. You've been walking for days in the scorching heat. And you see someone and they give you half a cup of water. It's not enough. You'll feel more frustrated after the half a cup of water. You want to quench your thirst. So we need to purify our life sufficiently so we come to the level where drinking the nectar of Krishna consciousness does not quench us. It's not enough. It's interesting. You get satisfaction, but you don't get satiation. You are satisfied, but not satiated. And you see this in the Bhagavatam again and again and again. Please tell me more. I want to know more. Please tell me. Please describe. Maharaj Parikshit is not quenched. He wants to know more and more. The sages want to know more and more. Here we'll see during the discussion of Vidura, Uddhava, Maitra Muni. They want to share and hear more and more. Thank you very much for everyone's feedback. Let us proceed. So we will be concluding this chapter. Vidura is still inquiring from Uddhava about Krishna's different family members and those in Hastinapur. And then this chapter concludes. Text 35. Apis vid anye chanijatma devam ananya vritya samunu vrataye ridika satyat maja chaturdeshna gadadaya swastichara charanti samya. O sober one, others such as Ridika, Charudeshna, Gada, and the sons of Satyabhama, who accept Lord Shri Krishna as the soul of the self and thus follow his path without deviation, are they well? 36. Api swadorbyam vijayachyuttabhyam dharmena dharma paripati setum duryodhanatap yatayat sabhayam samrajya lakshmya vijayanuvritya. Also, let me inquire whether Maharaj Yudhishthir is now maintaining the kingdom according to religious principles and with respect for the path of religion. Formerly, Duryodhana was burning with envy because Yudhishthir was being protected by the arms of Krishna and Arjuna as if they were his own arms. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Yudhishthir Maharaj was the emblem of religion. Therefore, his name was Dharmaraj. Now, let's first go through the purport. So he's the emblem, he's Dharmaraj. When he was ruling his kingdom with the help of Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the opulence of his kingdom surpassed all imaginations of the opulence of the kingdom of heaven. Let's try to appreciate that. The king of heaven, Indra, has Swargalok. And Swargalok is the most, from one perspective, the most opulent and surpasses all opulences. Now, when one surrenders to the Supreme Lord, one is able to achieve opulence beyond heaven. And here we have the example of Maharaj Yudhishthir, that on earth he had opulences far, far, far greater than heaven. When they say make heaven on earth, well, this is practical heaven on earth. Now, can you give me another example of someone from the Bhagavatam who also surrendered to the Supreme Lord and also got opulence that surpassed even that of the King of Heaven, even Swargalok? Prabhupada then continues. His actual arms were Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and thus he surpassed everyone's opulence. So it's not some material arrangement where one gets the opulences. It is the surrender to the Supreme Lord. So Vibhishan got Lanka, but Lanka was not as opulent as heaven. Yes, it had golden palaces. The whole Lanka was made of gold, but not as opulent. Dhruva, Sudama Brahmana. So Sudama Brahmana got opulence, but not again as opulent as heaven. Bali Maharaj. Yes, Mother Achana Siddhi has it. Bali Maharaj. Dhruva Loka. So Dhruva's got beyond heaven. Dhruva Loka, he didn't get opulence that surpassed Indra. He got opulence beyond heaven, not even like material opulence. Because why? Dhruva's planet cannot be compared. Dhruva Maharaj's planet cannot be compared to anything in the material world. Why? Because it's beyond the charts. It's a spiritual planet within the material creation. So there is no comparison. It's like comparing apples and oranges. You can't compare. Right? So that, yes, Dhruva Maharaj is beyond. Bali Maharaj, he stays in the lower planetary systems. And even though it's lower than Earth, in the subterranean region, it's a hellish region, but the opulence surpasses that even of Swarga. And not only that, his bodyguard is who? Here we find Yudhishthira Maharaj has two arms, Krishna and Arjuna. Well, Bali Maharaj also has a bodyguard. standing right at the entrance. And who's his bodyguard? None other than dwarf incarnation. Vamanadev is guarding his territory. Now imagine God himself guarding you. Here Krishna and Arjuna protecting Yudhishthira Maharaj. There is no fear. Zero fear. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is protecting. We need to learn how to take shelter of Krishna so that we can become fearless. Following in the footsteps of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Now, somebody may say, well, they were fortunate. I mean, they had God themselves personally present there. We don't have God personally present with us. So if somebody gives you that objection, what's your response? Very fortunate. God came 5,000 years ago. Yudhishthira Maharaj was there. Here I am, 2025. I don't see God around me. And Bali Maharaj, he was fortunate. Vamanadev came there personally, interacted with him. I don't see God here today. So how will you respond to that objection? Therefore, how can I be protected? It's unfair. Any responses? Somebody gave you that objection. And not only if somebody gave you that objection, we need to be convinced beyond doubt that we know the answer to this question, this inquiry. Mother Les says, the Lord is in every heart. We just can't see or hear him due to our dirty heart and mind. Okay, so that means, how do I still get protection? Because then I can't see him. He's there, but it still does not give me a practical solution to follow the footsteps of Maharaj Yudhishthira and Bali Maharaj, so that I can also have protection and therefore I can also have freedom from fear. The Archana Siddhi says Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is there. So that's the solution. The holy name of Krishna is present. Kali Kala Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. Krishna has descended in the age of Kali. Krishna has avatar. Krishna has come. Like in every other yuga, Krishna has descended. In this age, Krishna descends in the form of the holy name. So there is absolutely no reason for us to also be protected and sheltered by taking shelter of the holy name of Krishna. Bafana says, God is in our heart as Paramatma. Vishnu is in everything. So God is with us. Otherwise, we are nothing without God. Yes. From his representative, spiritual master. Yes. The spiritual master is also there. Scripture is also there, which is also Krishna. So Sukadeva Goswami's Prabhu says, taking shelter of the holy name, taking shelter of the Bhagavatam, Grantaraj, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, yes. So we can take shelter of the Bhagavatam, of Bhagavad Gita, of this pure devotee of the Lord, the spiritual master. We can take shelter of the holy name. This way, by us taking shelter, we get sheltered. Now, the challenge is most people want the shelter and the benefit of the shelter without taking shelter. Shamananda Prabhu says, there are Srila Prabhupada, what he feels when he chants Hare Krishna, and he said, no fear. Thank you very much. Yes. So this is shelter. The converse is true. And what's the converse? If you feel protected, if you feel fear, if you feel anxiety, what does it mean? It means I've not fully taken shelter of Krishna. It means I got work to do. It means I need to pull my socks up. It means I need to keep at it. It means Krishna is revealing my heart. So this way I can measure. Duryodhan, being envious of this opulence, planned so many schemes to put Yudhishthira into difficulty. And at last, the battle of Kurukshetra was brought about. After the battle of Kurukshetra, Yudhishthira Maharaj was again able to rule his legitimate kingdom, and he reinstated the principles of honor and respect for religion. That is the beauty of the kingdom ruled by a pious king like Maharaj Yudhishthira. When you have opulences beyond people's wildest dream, you attract negative influences like Duryodhan. But the fact that you are protected by Krishna, their plans, their schemes will never fructify, never work. And we see Mahabharata is a classic example. Through this episode, Krishna is teaching that his shelter is perfect and every other shelter is durashraya, is bad. No matter what other shelter we take, we will be disappointed. And here the point of taking shelter of dharma is very important. If you take shelter of dharma, dharma will protect you. If you uphold dharma, dharma will protect and shelter you. Dharma rakshati rakshata. Those who take shelter, those who protect dharma, those who uphold dharma, those who live dharmically, they will always be sheltered, protected by dharma. So here we see Yudhishthira Maharaj is the emblem of dharma, and we can follow in his footsteps. When Yudhishthira Maharaj was in exile, and we know the episode where they came to the bank of this river and they drank, the brothers drank water, and they were killed by Yamaraj, who was testing them, by the Yaksha, Yamaraj in the form of the Yaksha. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj finally came on the scene, and he noticed all his brothers were lifeless. And then the discussion, interaction is there where the Yaksha is asking all the questions and Yudhishthira Maharaj is answering very wonderfully. Then after he pleases the Yaksha says, I'm very pleased with you. Please ask. Please, I give you a boon. You can ask for anything, especially to revive any one of your brothers. Which brother would you want revived? Now we know Yudhishthira Maharaj was going to be fighting a battle. He knew that there's going to be a war if Duryodhan does not give him what is his. But so he tells the Yaksha, please revive Nakul. And the Yaksha says, why Nakul? Arjuna and Bhima are more powerful than him, and you're going to be fighting a battle. Why didn't you ask for their life? Why you ask for Nakul's life? And Yudhishthira Maharaj says, I'm alive. That means this. I got my mother, Queen Kunti's got one son alive. And I want also my other mother, Madri, to also have one of her sons alive. So therefore, I want Nakul to be alive. So in this way, at least one son from each of the mothers will be alive. So here we see, like this, Yudhishthira was following Dharma, the principles of Dharma. He was Dharmaraj. 37. Kimva kritag keshwa agam atyamarsi bhimo bhimo hivad dirgatamam vyamunchat. Yes, yangripatam ranabur nasehe margam gadayas charato vichitram. Please tell me whether the unconquerable being who is like a cobra has released his long cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of the battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Vidura knew the strength of Bhima. When Bhima was on the battlefield, his steps on the path and the wonderful playing of his club were unbearable for the enemy. Powerful Bhima did not take steps against the sons of Dhritarashtra for a long time. Vidura's inquiry was whether he had yet released his anger, which was like that of a suffering cobra. When a cobra releases its venom after long cherished anger, its victims cannot survive. So, Bhima was very, very powerful. It is described that one time when Queen Kunti was carrying Bhima and she wanted to pick up one of her other children, who were also young, small babies. So as soon as she went to pick up either, I think, Arjuna or Yudhishthir, Bhima fell from her hands, slipped from her hands, and he fell on a rock as a baby. And that rock became dust. He smashed it into pulp, into dust. This is how powerful Bhima was. No ordinary person. So he was very, very powerful. And we could imagine what massacre he must have performed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, together with his brother Hanuman. So Hanuman was also there on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, crying out the war cries. So facing these great personalities would have been nightmare, the warriors. 38. Kachit Yashoda Ratayutama Yuttapanam Gandhi Vadan Vo Paratarir Aste Alakshito Yach Chakra Kuto Gundo Maya Kritato Girishas Tutosha. Please tell me whether Arjuna, whose bow bears the name Gandiva and who is always famous amongst the chariot warriors for vanquishing his enemies, is he doing well? He once satisfied Lord Shiva by covering him with arrows when Shiva came as an unidentified false hunter. Lord Shiva tested Arjuna's strength by picking up a quarrel with him over a hunted boar. He confronted Arjuna in the false dress of a hunter, and Arjuna covered him with arrows until Lord Shiva was satisfied with Arjuna's fighting. He offered Arjuna the Pashupata weapon and blessed him. Here Vidura inquired about the great warrior's well-being. So one by one, he's asking about the Pandavas systematically, from Yudhishthir to Bhima to Arjuna, in sequence of etiquette. And Here Arjuna was a very powerful archer, Krishna's friend, Krishna's intimate friend. His Gandiva bow, Arjuna and Gandiva, non-different. It's described that the Gandiva was such a powerful weapon that if Arjuna was on this facing one's direction and he had to counter his enemy on the opposite direction, instantly the Gandiva bow would go to his hand in the opposite direction. And he was ambidextrous. He was able to use both arms. So in this way, his name is Sabyasachi. One is able to use both arms. Also, the Gandiva, there would be like no shortage of arrows. It was like a heavenly gift, a divine weapon given to him for Krishna's service. It's also described that Gandiva bow was like non-different from Arjuna, part of his body. And therefore, we know that Arjuna said, anyone who tells me to give up my Gandiva bow, it's like giving up my life. I will kill them. And Arjuna, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, before the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Arjuna himself was giving up the Gandiva bow by Krishna's arrangement, so that Krishna could speak Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna and the Gandiva bow, powerful warrior. 39. Yamavut tasvit tanayo prataya partai vrito paksmabir akshiniva remata udayamride swariktam parat suparnav iva vajrivat vaktrat are the twin brothers who were protected by their brothers doing well, just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid. They are protected by the sons of Pruta, who snatched back their rightful kingdom from the hands of their enemy Duryodhan, just as Garuda snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. Purport: Indra, the king of heaven, carries a thunderbolt in his hand and is very strong. Yet Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, was able to snatch nectar from his mouth. Similarly, Duryodhan was as strong as the king of heaven, and still the son of Pritha, the Pandavas, were able to snatch away their kingdom from Duryodhan. Both Garuda and the Parthas are pet devotees of the Lord. Thus, it was possible for them to face such strong enemies. So very affectionately, Prabhupada's calling them pet devotees. It's like, what is my pet son? Pet devotees. Krishna has favorites. Oh, how can Krishna have favorites? Unfair. No, it's not unfair. Krishna is a person. He's the personality of Godhead. He's a real person. He has likes and dislikes. Therefore, if you align to his likes in the most favorable way, you become a pet devotee. And if you don't align like Duryodhan, then you can face the wrath of Krishna. So, yes, pet devotees. How to be a pet devotee of Krishna means how to align yourself. I was speaking to one of my Christian friends. He's also a pastor, and he was making this point that you need to be yoked when you surrender to the Supreme Lord, you become yoked by His will. And he was telling me, like in Nigeria, they have oxen. Like in India also, we have oxen. And a yoke is something they put on the oxen. So there's two oxen, and a yoke is like a wooden gadget that they put on the two bulls, and they call them yoked. But what he mentioned is that the way the wooden piece is made is that when you have this yoke that falls on the bull, there's enough space for the bull to move his head. But when he moves it too much, then it's going to encounter some spikes. So the bull is free to move his head to a little extent. So there's a minute independence there. But then when it moves it too much, then it gets poked by some spikes. So it knows, oops, that's too much. I got a limit, and therefore I need to keep straight. And this is how the two bulls are able to take the bullock cart straight direction. So we also, when we get yoked by Krishna, that means I accept Krishna in my life. I accept Krishna's teachings. I accept Krishna's direction in my life. I'm yoked. And then I have my free will within that surrender. But when I move beyond the boundaries, I can get pricked, even as a devotee. So it was a nice example. Great devotees like Garuda, Bharata, they have absolutely no desire to move even an inch outside the will and desire of Krishna. This is what makes them pet devotees. Zero desire to displease Krishna in any form. Everything is Krishna. Everything is how to please Krishna, what will please Krishna. Vidura's inquiry was about the youngest brothers of the Pandavas, namely Nakul and Sahadev. These twin brothers were the sons of Madri, the stepmother of the other Pandavas. But although they were step brothers, because Kunti took charge of them after departure of Madri with her husband, Maj Pandu, Nakul and Sahadev were as good as the other three Pandavas, Yudhishthir, Bhim, and Arjuna. Some things. Just have a little emergency. So the five brothers are known in the world as regular brothers. The three elder brothers, the three elder Pandavas took care of the younger brothers, just as the eyelid take care of the eye. Vidura was anxious to know whether, after winning back their own kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana, the younger brothers were still living happily under the care of the elder brothers. Now, the elder brothers here, Yudhishthir, Bhima, and Arjuna, because they were dharmic, because they were Krishna conscious, they did not exploit the younger brothers. They did not see that, oh yeah, they're not my children, they stepchildren, or sometimes you find in the material world this type of family member dispute is there. That he's not my real brother, my blood brother. He's stepbrothers like this. But you find this was not the case with the Pandavas. 40. Oho pritapi diryate bakarte rajar sivaryena vinapitena. Yes, twa eka viro dina dirato vichagye danur vitiya kakubas chatashram. O my Lord, is Prita still living? She lived only for the sake of her fatherless children. Otherwise, it was impossible for her to live without King Pandu, who was the greatest commander and who alone conquered the four directions simply with the help of a second bow. A faithful wife cannot live without her husband. A faithful wife cannot live without her Lord, the husband. Small l, note. And therefore, all widows used to voluntarily embrace the burning fire which consumed the dead husband. This system was very common in India because all the wives were chaste and faithful to their husbands. Later on, with the advent of the age of Kali, the wives gradually began to be less adherent to their husbands, and the voluntary embrace of fire by the widows became a thing of the past. Very recently, the system was abolished since the voluntary system had become a forcible social custom. When Maharaj Pandu died, both his wives, namely Kunti and Madri, were prepared to embrace the fire, but Madri requested Kunti to live for the sake of the young children, 5 Pandavas. This was agreed. This was agreed to be by Kunti at the added request of Vyasadeva. In spite of her great bereavement, Kunti decided to live, not to enjoy life in the absence of her husband, but only to give protection to the children. This incident is referred to here by Vidura because he knew all the facts about his sister-in-law Kunti Devi. It is understood that Maharaj Pandu was a great warrior and that he alone, with the help of bow and arrow, could conquer the world's four directions. In the absence of a husband, it was almost impossible for Kunti to live on even as a widow, but she had to do it for the sake of the 5 children. So Kunti, being the aunt of Krishna, and we covered the glories of Kunti Devi in the first canto and her beautiful prayers. So she also was very dear to Krishna, protecting the Pandavas, and also had a very wonderful relationship with Krishna. 41. Somya nushoche tamada patantam bratre paretaya vidu druhenam druheya niryapito yena surit swaporyam aham swaputran samanuvartena. O gentle one, I simply lament for he, Dhritarashtra, who rebelled against his brother after death. By him I was driven out of my own house, although I am his sincere well-wisher, because he accepted the line of action adopted by his own sons. So here we find Vidura, he was inquiring how are these personalities, and he gave a whole list of inquiries. When he comes to Dhritarashtra, he doesn't inquire. He says, I simply lament for him. There's no inquiry how he's going to be. How is he doing? No. Why there's no inquiry about how is he doing? He's saying, I lament for him. Because somebody who's already illusioned by the material energy due to attachment, etc., his situation is lamentable. Prabhupada writes, Vidura did not ask about the welfare of his elder brother because there was no chance of his well-being. Only news of his gliding down to hell. So this is the situation. If I cut my finger, right, then there's a question of saying, take that finger and attach it quickly. And let's say, take that finger and I attach it quickly. And next day you can ask, how is your finger? Because it's attached. Now, I cut my finger, and after 1 week, let's say I amputated, and after 1 month, there's no question of asking me, how's your finger? Because that finger is rotten, dead, and gone. It's trash. It's thrown away. So as soon as you detach yourself from the Lord, you can't really ask a question, how are you? The only news is that you are gliding down to hell. But when you are connected to the Supreme Lord, now your well-being is there. Now there's a question of well-being. Now you are healthy. Now we can ask, how are you doing? Otherwise, not. So a very interesting point in perspective. Like in this material world, good morning, we address people, good morning when you go to work. It's never good because you are disconnected from Krishna. Therefore, it can never be a good morning. It can only be a good morning when you start your life and you live your life with connection to Krishna. Otherwise, it should be a warning. Not a good morning, but a warning. Vidura was a sincere well-wisher of Dhritarashtra's and had a thought about him in the corner of his heart. Now, even though he did not ask about the well-being of Dhritarashtra, the fact that he asked about, or he thought about him, because he didn't inquire, right? He made a statement. So the fact that he thought about him, Prabhupada is making the point that it meant he had a place, a corner in his heart for Dhritarashtra. And that is the only thing that saved him. When a devotee of the Lord has a place in your heart that just allows them to think of you, then that is blessing. That well wishes has an impact on one's life. Vidura lamented that Dhritarashtra could rebel against the sons of his dead brother Pandu, and that he could drive him, Vidura, out of his own house on the dictation of Dhritarashtra's crooked sons. In spite of these actions, Vidura never became an enemy of Dhritarashtra, but continued to be his well-wisher. And at the last stage of Dhritarashtra's life, it was Vidura only who proved to be his real friend. Such is the behavior of a Vaishnav like Vidura. He desires all good, even for his enemies. And we know Yudhishthira was also a Jata Shatru, for one who has no enemy that's born. So from his side, he's always a well-wisher. And here we see by Vidura's example also. So we should not take the blessings, the well-wishing sentiments of devotees lightly. They're very powerful to impact our life and future. 42. Soham hare martya vidam banena drisho nrenam chalayato vidadu nanyo palakshya padavim prasadach charami pasyan gata vishmayotra. I am not astonished at this, having traveled over the world without being seen by others. The activities of the personality of Godhead, which are like those of a man in this mortal world, are bewildering to others, but I know of his greatness by his grace, and thus I am happy in all respects. So again, a very beautiful example for us. We want to be happy. And how are we going to be happy in all respects? Not just in one area, but in all respects. What is the secret? Everybody has their own view. Myriads, unlimited sites, motivational people speaking about how to be happy. But here is the secret. The Bhagavatam is revealing the eternal truth. It is only by the grace of the Lord that we can be happy. Prabhupada in the purport says, although he was the brother of Dhritarashtra, Vidura was completely different. What made him different? By the grace of Lord Krishna, he was not foolish like his brother. And thus, his brother's association could not influence him. It was actually the other way around. At the end, it was Vidura's influence on his brother. But the key point here is that he was not foolish. Okay, what does it mean, not foolish? Prabhupada is going to expand on that. Prabhupada says, Dhritarashtra and his materialistic sons wanted to falsely lord it over the world by dint of their own strength. This is called foolishness. And we all, to some degree or other, have this foolishness in us. We are in this material world trying to exploit, trying to enjoy, trying to lord it, trying to lord over the energies of Krishna, trying to enjoy on our own strength, making our own arrangements. The Lord encouraged them in this, and thus they became more and more bewildered. Hold on. Why is the Lord encouraging them? Isn't that unfair? The Lord should be directing them towards saintliness. Why is the Lord encourage them to enjoy, lord over it even more and more? Any comments? It's unfair. Why is the Lord encouraging them in this? Why is Krishna giving you the foolishness and the avenues to be foolish and the energies to be even more foolish? Isn't that unfair? Isn't that against the whole principles of becoming an associate of the Lord? Maybe there's an error here, because the Lord should not be encouraging them. The Lord should be discouraging them. Shamananda says, Bhagavad Gita says he allows us to forget if that's what we want. Help us remember if that's what you want. Mata smriti gnanopavanam cha. So yes, the Lord will allow you to fulfill your desires. and he will give you what you want. So if you don't want Krishna, Krishna will facilitate that. If you want Krishna, he is going to facilitate that. Mother Les says it's their nature and they have minute independence. They need to choose Krishna no matter what. So that's also true. In either situation, Krishna's there. So the point here is that Krishna is our Supreme Father. And because Krishna is the Supreme Father, Krishna will make arrangements for his good pet devotees, pet sons. He will make arrangements for his good sons. He will make arrangements for his deviant sons. No matter who, Krishna as the Supreme Father will facilitate, will make arrangements for all their sons, for all the sons. So this is why Krishna is encouraging them. Krishna doesn't want them to deviate, but because that's the desire, Krishna will not go against the desire. He's not going to force them against their desire. Therefore, Krishna encouraged them. And through that encouragement, they would learn a lesson. Because in the material world, if you're going in the wrong direction, sooner or later, it's only a question of time that you learn or you start to think something's not right. It's not working out. Even if it means, that you get suicidal and you kill yourself and you come back and you learn. Somewhere along the line, you're going to figure out this is not working. Fafana says, it's the degree that one is attached to material life that is there, that there is no turning back. That the thing, if God is not, they therefore have to live like that. Yes, in the material world, you can live and move to that extent where there's no return, but there will always be a cycle, even within material nature. Just like, you could go deep into Kali Yuga. It doesn't eternally go like that. There's an end. Kali Yuga starts cycling again. So there is no eternal condemnation. There's no eternal Maya. There's no living entity that can be eternally in this material world. Sooner or later, after lots of kicking and after lots of slapping, by the mercy of the pure devotee also, you can get out. This is why the pure devotees come to this world. They want to interfere in your independence to give you a better option. Just like a salesperson who has a better product, he will tell you this, please take this product. This product is better than that product. Why? And he gives you a list. So the pure devotee also, he's telling you, take this option. This option is better than what you got. In the spiritual world, this is the benefits. In the material world, this is the benefits. Take this. So in this way, the pure devotee gives us a better option to direct us. The Lord encouraged them in this, and thus they became more and more bewildered. But Vidura wanted to achieve sincere devotional service of the Lord, and therefore he became a soul absolutely surrendered to the absolute personality of Godhead. This is what's required. Absolute surrender to the absolute personality of Godhead. Nothing more, nothing less. And we all on this path of trying to achieve this end, to surrender fully. When I take initiation, it's not that I'm surrendered. Initiation means you've just initiated the process of surrender. Our whole journey of Krishna consciousness is a journey of trying to increase our surrender more and more and more until I have fully surrendered, or until I have absolutely surrendered to Krishna. This is really what's wanted. When this happens, now you're in a different environment. Now you're in a different sphere. Now you're in the spiritual world. Now Krishna is absolutely with you. And as Bhakti Maharaj would say, you will start experiencing Krishna's magic. Before that, it's very difficult. People want Krishna's magic without surrender. It's like in the material world, people want everything with, free, without effort, without payment. Spiritual life, unfortunately, is not free, in the sense that there's no free lunch. It's not going to fall on your lap. It's not like tonight I'm going to take a rest, tomorrow I'm going to wake up as a pure devotee. It's most unlikely to happen. Not that it can't. Krishna can be merciful. That is special kripa, special mercy. We all fall in the category of sadhana siddha. We have to perfect our life through the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So that means I have to understand what is my goal. And I also have to be practical and understand the reality where I am. And yes, there is a gap in terms of absolute surrender and where I am. And because of that gap, I will experience the effects of material nature according to my karma. When I absolutely surrender to the Supreme Lord, then there is no karma. Then it is Krishna's free will. So all I need to do is tolerate, persist, persevere, keep associating with Krishna in the different forms that we discussed, keep my Krishna consciousness on fire, keep it alive, keep it vibrant, keep it relevant, and keep moving forward until I've achieved the objective, until I've completely surrendered, until I completely purified my life. So that's our objective. That's our goal. That's our aspiration. Keep at it. He could realize this in the progress of his pilgrim's journey, and thus he was freed from all doubts. What was he realizing? Because he left the kingdom. Now he was free to travel. And what was his travel? He was traveling from one pilgrimage site, one temple to another, all related to Krishna. So he was seeing Krishna in these temples. He was meditating and contemplating. He was surrendering through that process more and more and more, giving his life, giving his time, giving his energy, giving his thoughts completely to Krishna. And he was getting for greater and greater realizations of this, beyond doubt. He was not at all sorry to be bereft of his earth and home, because he now had experienced that dependence on the mercy of the Lord is a greater freedom than so-called freedom at home. Surrender to the Supreme Lord, dependence on the mercy of the Lord, getting the blessing and the mercy of the Lord is far greater than any situation in the material world. this realization needs to be dawn. This realization needs to dawn upon us. I must have given this example one time. I was at the Durban temple, and one elderly devotee came after the program. She came and she started to give me a whole list of complaints. My son is like this, and this is like this, and this is like this, and this is not working, and this is what. And she must have gone on for like 10, 15 minutes. And I just kept quiet and I heard her. So after she completed, I said, so Mataji, you finished? She said, yes. I said, now just consider if you weren't Krishna conscious. And she said, I would have been dead. And I said, exactly. The fact that you are Krishna conscious means you got Krishna's mercy. Means Krishna is revealing different lessons through these situations. So we should see that side. We should be grateful that thank you, Krishna, that I'm Krishna conscious. Thank you, Krishna, that I am able to see this. I'm able to experience life through the lens of Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, that I'm able to actually achieve a different perspective to life, different view to life. Otherwise, it becomes nightmare to be in this material world. A person should not be in the renounced order of life unless he is firmly convinced of being protected by the Lord. This stage of life is explained in Bhagavad Gita as abhayam sattva samsudhi. Every living entity is factually completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. But unless one is in the pure state of existence, he cannot be established in this position. So that's the key. How am I going to come to this goal of absolute surrender, of absolute dependence on the mercy of Krishna, so that I can experience greater freedom? I can experience Krishna's opulence, Krishna's mercy, Krishna's kindness, Krishna's association. It can only come when my existence is pure. That means purification. Therefore, chanting the holy names. Therefore, practicing Krishna consciousness. Therefore, associating nicely. And therefore, avoiding anything that's negative. Keep away from that which is dangerous, detrimental to the soul. This stage of dependence is called sattva samsudhi, or purification of one's existence. The result of such purification is exhibited in fearlessness. The result of such purification is exhibited in fearlessness. If you are fearless, it means you are totally pure. If you are fearful, it means impurities. So again and again, this point is brought out through the Bhagavatam. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, when the Pandavas blew their conch shells, when Krishna blew his conch shell, the Panchajanya, and the Pandavas blew their conch shell, it shattered the hearts of the Kauravas. Why? Because of impurities. Now consider this week, we had the unfortunate accident of the plane in Ahmedabad. It takes off and everyone's excited and everyone's happy. And all of a sudden, it explodes. Naturally, if one is sitting there, if we look at the incident after, it's unfortunate. But as Prabhupada again and again would remind us, it's a precarious situation. Prabhupada uses the word precarious. Why? because precarious means at an instant life can turn. It doesn't give you a notice. Just like a drop of water on a lotus leaf, it drops. That drop can fall very quickly. It is very feeble. So our life can turn. I may have been on that plane thinking I'm going to the destination, I'm safe and sound, everything's okay. And I may not be thinking of Krishna. And within 30 seconds, my death is there. Because why? I was expecting I'm going to be in the air, safely landing in a few hours at my destination. So therefore, we should not assume that I'll be able to live comfortably in the next few hours. I need to be prepared. And the preparation is to always take shelter of the Supreme Lord under every circumstance. Now, to take shelter of the Lord in every situation, let's just take that as a goal. Would you say, maybe type in the chat, are you able to take shelter of Krishna right now in every situation, at every point in time, going forward? You are able to take shelter of Krishna with firm confidence, no matter what the time, what the situation, what the events, where you are you able to take full shelter of Krishna right now? That means you like ready. Okay, if that is a question that Krishna is sending through an SMS. Are you ready? That if I give you any future situation, any future event, any future circumstance, unnoticed, uninvited, uninformed, no precursor, are you able to take full shelter of Krishna, of me? And yes, I can also be one of the no's. I'm not ready. Okay. So now I'm not ready. Okay. So at least you have a measure. Okay, I'm not ready. No problem. We should not become depressed. Right? So don't become depressed. No depression. Remember, we already covered the purport. Srila Prabhupada in Canto 2. What did Prabhupada say about depression? Can anyone remember? Please type in the chat. What can you remember about depression that we covered from Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta Purports, second canto? Can anyone recall? What did Prabhupada say? Even paraphrase, no problem. What did Srila Prabhupada say about depression? At least in terms of devotees and depression. Very difficult. Okay. Any others? No need to be depressed. Prabhupada said, there is no depressed devotees. It's a scary question. Okay, we'll get to your question, your response. So Prabhupada says there is no question for depressed devotee. You can't have a depressed devotee. A devotee cannot be depressed. So there is no question for us to be depressed. Okay, I'm not ready. No problem. Be happy that you're not ready, because at least you know you're not ready. Now we can prepare and plan so that we can become ready. And when you prepare and plan to become ready, then your life will become exciting. Because why? You are improving towards a goal that is permanent, a goal that's going to give you real freedom, a goal that's going to give you personal association of Krishna. So therefore, there is no question of becoming depressed. And that means I'm now moving towards purity and fearlessness, even if it's step by step. So Bhavana says it's a scary question, but I can say that I'm not ready, but I'm in it, giving so many circumstances I've gone through. I feel somewhat surrendered, expect good and bad, yet my deepest desire at heart is seeing Krishna as the goal to live for. He says there's no depression. Yes, very devotee. Good, yes. So that's true. Now here's the thing. When we know this, when we contemplate on this, like you mentioning, Bafana, when we think about it and I'm ready, I'm expecting it. Now when the situation transpires, I'll be able to see that situation in a Krishna conscious perspective, see through the light of this purport. This stage of dependence is called sattva samsuddhi, or purification of one's existence. The result of such purification is exhibited in fearlessness. Tomorrow, when a situation transpires and I feel anxiety, I feel, the negative energy, I fall back to this point that Prabhupada is saying, yes, I need more purification. I need to purify myself and keep moving, keep moving. And I may get some glimpses of Krishna's protection in different ways. And the more I keep at it, the more I have firm faith, the more I depend on Krishna, the more I purify my life, Krishna consciousness should become more and more and more wonderful, because I'm becoming more purified and then more fearless. Ray Prabhu says, agree. When I see bad things happen, I take it as good education to better my ability. Yes. We use stumbling blocks as stepping stones. Every situation is there for you not to go through. Every situation is there for you to grow through. We need to grow through every episode in our life. And grow where? To what extent? To what level? To this level of complete purification. Why? Because that's the only place where you will feel no fear. And Prabhupada, in Life Comes From Life, Prabhupada writes that fear is even in every atom. It's part of the nature of this material world. So when one feels fearless, you can understand the level of freedom. It is very, very powerful. Prabhupada continues, a devotee of the Lord who is called Narayanapara is never afraid of anything, because he is always aware of the fact that the Lord protects him in all circumstances. Powerful statements. A devotee of the Lord who is called Narayanapara is never afraid of anything. because he's always aware of the fact that the Lord protects him in all circumstances. There you are, sitting next to the window, and this plane in Ahmedabad lifts off, and you look outside the window, and you find the plane gains momentum up, and you expect it to keep going up, but then you notice something very strange. Oops. It seems like the plane is going down, and you can see it going down to crash as a devotee, as an aspiring devotee. If you're living this statement, a devotee of the Lord who is called Narayana Para is never afraid of anything, because he's always aware of the fact that the Lord protects him in all circumstances. You will see what as you're going down. If you follow the statement and you're sitting next to the window, as you're going down, what would you see? Please type in the chat. And can you also give me an example of what Srila Prabhupada said, what he saw in a similar situation, not with a plane, but in a similar situation? Nonetheless says, today is the day I see Krishna. Yes. Krishna, bombs during what time? Prabhupada saw in Calcutta, the bombs coming. And Prabhupada, what he said? I see Krishna. Krishna is coming. So dear devotees, we have to always do a reality check on ourselves. Don't worry about reality check of others. Leave the others to Krishna and to themselves. You do a reality check for yourself. Like Prabhupada says, we're flying our own plane, right? So if you're sitting next to this plane and that's going down, if we live in this statement, I'm going to see Krishna. That means I'm completely pure and I'm a pure devotee. Agreed. So Madhuri's remind me of a story. Let's see if I can recollect the story nicely, if I remember the story. There was a husband and wife. There was on a ship, and this ship was sailing in a vast ocean that was in the middle of a storm. There was turbulence, and the captain was very serene. There was no anxiety on his face, and everyone else in this ship was panicking because it was a terrible storm. Thunder, this light in a thunder, raining storm. The waves were practically betting the ship. It was a matter of life and death. So the wife asked the captain. The wife asked the husband, "Why you're not fearful?" So then the husband took a knife and held the knife next to her neck and asked her a question. Are you scared if I hold this knife next to your throat, ready to be killed? She said, no. And he said, why? He said, because you love me. You won't do that. And the husband said, exactly. If you surrender to Krishna, Krishna loves you. Krishna won't do that. So therefore, I surrender to Krishna. He loves me. He knows what's best. So when one is embraced by Krishna in that way, then every situation is an opportunity to become more intimately associated with Krishna. Now, coming back to the reality, I'm not there. No problem. In that situation, if I'm sitting next to that window and I'm going down, I know I'm not ready. I know I'm going to be fearful, and my heart may be pounding. So all I'm going to do is pray to Krishna. Namaste Narashiningaya, or chant the Lord's name, or however, just take shelter. My Lord, it's up to you. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Wherever you want me to go next, I'm ready to go next. There's nothing I can do. My life is in your hands. You decide, you take me, you direct me. I'm fearful. I'm sweating. I know I'm going to die. You do as you desire. And however Krishna wants us to take transition to the next life, yes, we in the next life, and he will make the situation more favorable than this life for me to become more Krishna conscious. Otherwise, you can imagine somebody who does not have Krishna in their life, somebody who's not Krishna conscious, somebody who does not have the knowledge that Prabhupada is sharing with us through these Bhaktivedanta purports. Try to understand the anxiety. Yeah, they'll be so fearful. It's like you can imagine the anxiety that's going on in their life. Oh, my family. Oh, I suppose what will be they thinking? Oh, there's it's going to be turmoil. And yes, it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. And the Bhagavatam and Prabhupada's purports are preparing us for that. We can always learn from other people's experience and lessons, because we cannot perform all the mistakes to learn. So we need to take heed of Prabhupada's instructions and try our best to apply. As Krishna consciousness is an emergency, at the same time, it's not a marathon, or it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So we need to be urgent, but at the same time, we need to be patient and be Krishna conscious. Prabhupada continues. With this conviction, Vidura traveled alone, and he was not seen or recognized by any friend or foe. Thus, he enjoyed freedom of life without obligations to many duties of the world. When Lord Krishna was personally present in the mortal world in his eternal blissful form of Sham Sundar, those who were not pure devotees of the Lord could not recognize him or know his glories. Avajananti mam muda manushim tanum asritam. 9:11. He is always bewildering to the non-devotees, but he is always seen by the devotees by dint of the pure devotional service to him. So we need to come to the level of pure devotional service so that we can see Krishna. Because Krishna says, only by devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you. Bhakti amama bijanati, only by pure devotional service. 43. Nunam nripanam trimadot patanam mahim muhus chalayatam chamudbi badat pratapan nartijiha jihir sayesho apyopaik satangham bhagavan kurunam. Despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of sufferers, he, Krishna, refrains from killing the Kurus, although they committed all sorts of sins, and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements carried out under the detection of the three kinds of false pride. As declared in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord appears in this mortal world to execute his much needed mission of killing the miscreants and giving protection to the suffering faithful. In spite of that mission, Lord Krishna tolerated the insult to Draupadi by the Kurus and the injustice perpetrated against the Pandavas, as well as insults to himself. The question may be raised, why did he tolerate such injustice and insults in his presence? Why did he not chastise the Kurus immediately? These are very pertinent and important questions. And be honest with yourself. Ask this question. Have you ever asked such a question in the past, in the events that happen in your life? Like, why did Krishna didn't do this? Or why did Krishna allow this? Or why did Krishna not stop this? Did you ever ask such questions in your life when tragedy hit you sometime in the past? Like your expectation was A and Krishna gave you a Z. Did you ever have such an experience? Shamananda says we ask these questions every day. Like, Krishna, why are you not doing this? Krishna, why you? It's like, Krishna, you know. So I'm sure we have asked this question before. And Prabhupada is asking the same questions now. Okay, now here's the beauty part. This is what I like. That Prabhupada asks the questions, and guess what he mercifully does? He answers the questions so that I don't need to speculate. Okay, so Prabhupada writes, when Draupadi was insulted, okay, maybe I just need to make this point. Why are these questions important? Let's consider the situation. Krishna is personally present. God. His devotees are personally present. Both God and the devotees go through tragedy, insults, negative situations, reverses. God is there. He is going through the situation. He's getting insulted, and he does not reverse it. He does not prevent it. He goes through it. The Pandavas are going through injustice perpetrated upon them. Krishna does not stop it. He allows them to go through it. That's the question. Why did he tolerate such injustice? Why did Krishna tolerate the insults in his presence? Why did he not chastise the Kurus immediately? He has the power. He's God. And if he has the power and he's God, he can do it. It's like Superman, right? Somebody shoots you. What happens to the bullet? It gets bounced off. Superman can do that because he's Superman. Krishna is more than Superman. He's beyond Superman. He's all powerful. He's Bhagavan. He can do anything. He can even reverse time, like in the movies. So Krishna can do anything. But why didn't he? There must be a deep reason. And I want to know the reason. Prabhupada writes, when Draupadi was insulted in the assembly by the Kurus, by their attempt to see her naked in the presence of all, the Lord protected Draupadi by supplying an unlimited length of clothing. But he did not chastise the insulting party immediately. This silence of the Lord did not mean, however, that he excused the offenses of the Kurus. there were many other kings on earth who had become very proud of three kinds of possessions: wealth, education, and followers. If you become proud of these, which are all Krishna's, and which these kings fell prey to, they were in danger. And they were constantly agitating the earth by movements of military strength. The Lord was waiting to get them together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them all at one time, just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. After reading that, summarize in one short sentence. When you're in a situation, you're an aspiring devotee of Krishna, you are practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely, you are in a situation that is negative, that is a reversal, that is uncalled for, that is injustice, and you know Krishna will intervene, but he did not intervene. Why? From just what we read, tell me why. You are in a situation, you're expecting Krishna to intervene because it's unjust, it's a reversal. And Krishna does not intervene. Why? Give me one statement that summarizes the answer that Prabhupada just shared. Shamananda Prabhu says, there is a bigger plan in play and will happen in Krishna's timing. Perfect. Shama says, it's good for own purification. Yes. Sukadeva Goswami says, because Krishna has a bigger plan. Exactly. This is the answer. Krishna's got a bigger plan. He knows you. It's not like he doesn't know you. He knows you better than you know yourself. The question is, do you trust Krishna? So we should trust Krishna and leave Krishna to do his job. And he does his job perfectly. He's expert. Krishna is amazing. Krishna is wonderful. Krishna is beautiful. Gita says Krishna knows what is best. Exactly. So because he knows what's best, he knows the plan, he knows what you need, he will always, I repeat, Krishna will always give you what's the best for your future. Krishna will always give you what's best for your future. Here, Krishna did what's best for his mission. And therefore, he allowed the devotees to tolerate the situation because he had a bigger plan. Let us remember this going into the future of our life. Prabhupada continues. Afana says, Krishna always intervenes. Yes, no doubt. Godless kings or heads of states, when puffed up by the advancement of material wealth, education, and increase of population, always make a show of military strength and give trouble to the innocent. Let me ask you, is this happening now? Godless kings or head states, when puffed up by advancement of material wealth, education, increased population, always make a show of military strength and give trouble to innocent. Rest assured, it's happening now. Why isn't Krishna doing anything? Because he has a bigger plan. When Lord Krishna was personally present, And there were many such kings all over the world. And he does arrange for the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In his manifestation of Vishwasvarupa, the Lord expressed his mission of killing as follows. I have willingly descended to the earth in my capacity of inexorable time in order to decrease the unwanted population. I shall finish all those who have assembled here except you, the Pandavas. This killing does not wait for you to take part in it. It is already arranged. All will be killed by me. If you want to become famous as the hero of the battlefield and thus enjoy the booty of war, then, O Sabyasachi, just become the immediate cause of this killing and thus take the credit. I have already killed all the great warriors, Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Karna, and many other great generals. Do not worry. Fight the battle and be famous as a great hero. So, Krishna had the plan. And one of his other plans, besides the one that Prabhupada is saying to bring all the demons at one place, was to glorify Arjuna, to give credits to Arjuna. So Krishna has a plan. Trust Krishna. You know, on the dollar note, what they say? In God we trust. We need to trust Krishna. Trust this bluish, blackish boy. The Lord always wants to see his devotees as the hero of some episode which he himself performs. He wanted to see his devotee and friend Arjuna as the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. That and nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. 44. Ajasya janmat patanasanaya karmanya kartur grahanaya pumsam nanyan yatako rihati deha yogam paro gunanam utakarma tantram. The appearance of the Lord is manifested for the annihilation of the upstarts. His activities are transcendental and are enacted for the understanding of all persons. Otherwise, since the Lord is transcendental to all material modes, what purpose could he serve by coming to the earth? What's purport? Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachid Ananda Vigraha from Samhita 5.1. The form of the Lord is eternal, blissful, and all-satisfying. His so-called birth is therefore an appearance only, like the birth of a sun on the horizon. His birth does not, like that of the living entity, take place under the influence of material nature and the bondage of the reactions of his past deeds. His work and activities are independent pastimes and are not subject to the reactions of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita 4.14, it is said, Namam karmani limpanti name karma phales priha iti mam yo bhajan vijanati karma birna sahas padyate. The law of karma enacted by the Supreme Lord for the living entities cannot be applicable to him, nor has the Lord any desire to improve himself by activities like those of ordinary living beings. Ordinary living beings work for the improvement of their conditional lives. But the Lord is already full of all opulences, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. So Krishna is on a different frequency. He's not enduring karma. His body is totally transcendental. So when he comes and performs pastimes, everything is totally transcendental, as per his desire, as per his wish. When the pure devotee would appear in Krishna's pastimes, they also don't have karma. They're also working by Krishna's pure desire. We who have conditioned life, karmic reaction, prarabdha karma in store, when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, Krishna also will use our past karma to purify us, to give us a better situation going forward. Why should he desire improvement? No one can excel him in any opulence, and therefore the desire for improvement is absolutely useless for him. No one should always discriminate between activities of the Lord and those of ordinary living beings. Thus, one may come to the right conclusion regarding the Lord's transcendental position. One who can come to the conclusion of the Lord's transcendence can become a devotee of the Lord and can at once be freed from all reactions of past deeds. I will read that again. One who can come to the conclusion of the Lord's transcendence can become a devotee of the Lord and can at once be freed from all reactions of past deeds. There is a powerful blessing and powerful spiritual statement of understanding the nature, the truth of the Lord's appearance in this world. Krishna's Janma Karma Chamaya Divyam, his activities are totally transcendental. When you know that, you realize that, at once you have no karma. It is said, Karmani nirdahati kintucha bhakti bhajam. The Lord minimizes or nullifies the reactionary influence of the devotee's past deeds. The activities of the Lord are to be accepted and relished by all living entities. Accept and relish. His activities are meant to attract the ordinary man towards the Lord. The Lord always acts in the favor of the devotee, and therefore ordinary men who are fruitive actors or seekers of salvation may be attracted to the Lord when he acts as protector of the devotees. Fruitive actors can attain their goals by devotional service, and thus salvationists can also attain their goal in life by devotional service to the Lord. The devotees do not want the fruitive results of their work, nor do they want any kind of salvation. So the Lord, through his pastimes of protecting, convince others to take shelter of him. One time, a group of devotees was surrounded by a dangerous gang team, gangsters, that had weapons, sticks, weapons, chains in their hands. And the devotees were completely surrounded and they were ready to beat all the devotees up. They were angry, aggressive. So in that group of devotees, there was one devotee that was considering the situation, and he knew that this is going to be a dangerous outcome here. So he thought that, can I do something to protect the devotees? So he started to blaspheme and criticize the gang verbally. When he started to criticize and blaspheme the gang verbally, he was on a spotlight. And everyone was, looking at him and thinking he's got a cheek, he's got a nerve to blaspheme us. And at that point, when he got their attention, he started to run, thinking that if I can distract them, because he agitated them, and they all started running after him now. He knew that he put his life in danger and he could be killed. So he was ready to sacrifice his life to save the other devotees. So as soon as he ran out of the group, they all ran after him. basically to get him and kill him. When the gang ran, other devotees now were free. They basically escaped and came back to the temple. Naturally, they're worried about what's going to happen to the devotee. The devotee started running, and he started going through the place. There were one road after another trying to, and the whole gang was after him. And he came to a dead end where he ran into an alley, and there was no way out. And he turned around and he saw the gang. And they were screaming and ready to attack him. And all of a sudden, at one point, they just screamed and they ran in the opposite direction. And he was wondering, wow, what happened? Anyway, he was saved. So he came back to the temple, and they were very happy that he was saved. And a few months later, or a year later, or 2 years later, a new devotee came and joined the temple. And this new devotee joined the temple, and during prasad, he met this devotee that he encountered in the alley. And he started to share his experience. He told this devotee, you know why? He said, I was one of those gangsters that had cornered you to kill you. And this devotee was shocked. He was, really? He says, yes. And do you know what happened that night? And the devotee shared, this gangster devotee shares the whole story. And he said, we were ready to kill you. And all of a sudden we saw this like lion form, half man, half lion form, loud, was so fearful, so powerful, above you, like behind you. And we were so scared, we ran. And I was always wanting to know who that is. And I was searching, and finally I found it at the Hare Krishna temple. And I became a devotee. And not only that, all the gangsters became devotees. So the devotee, so the Lord protects his devotees, and through their protection inspires others to become devotees. The activities of the Lord are to be accepted. All right, we read. So that was, Prabhupada continues. They relish the glorious superhuman activities of the Lord, such as his lifting Govardhan hill and his killing the demon Putana in infancy. His activities are enacted to attract all kinds of men, karmis, gyanis, and bhaktas. Because he is transcendental to all laws of karma, there is no possibility of his accepting a form of Maya like the form forced on ordinary living entities who are bound by the actions and reactions of their own past deeds. And the secondary purpose of his appearance is to annihilate the upstart asuras and to stop the nonsense of atheistic propaganda by less intelligent persons. By the Lord's causeless mercy, the asuras who are killed personally by the personality of God get salvation. The meaningful appearance of the Lord is always distinct from ordinary birth. Even pure devotees have no connection with the material body. And certainly the Lord, who appears as he is, in his Satchidananda form, is not limited by material form. Text 45. Tasya prapana kilalo kapanam avastitanam anusasane swe arthaya jatasya yaduswa ajasya vartan sakhe kirtanatir takri kirte. O my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only by their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadavas. Purport. There are innumerable rulers all over the universe in different varieties of planets. The sun god in the sun planet, the moon god in the moon planet, Indra in the heavenly planets, Vayu, Varuna, and those in the Brahma Loka planet where Brahma is living. All are obedient servants of the Lord. Whenever there is any trouble in the administration of the innumerable planets in different universes, the rulers pray for an appearance, and the Lord appears. The Bhagavatam 1:228 has already confirmed this in the following verse. Ete cham sakala pumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. In every millennium, whenever there is whenever there is any trouble for the obedient rulers, the Lord appears. He also appears for the sake of his pure unalloyed devotees. The surrendered rulers and the pure devotees are always strictly under the control of the Lord, and they are never disobedient to the desires of the Lord. They are never disobedient to the desires of the Lord. The Lord is therefore always attentive to them. So if we want the attention of Krishna, then be obedient to his desires. To the degree you are disobedient to the desires, to that degree Krishna is inattentive. He'll provide what you need, but he's inattentive. Like a total materialist, Krishna doesn't worry about them. Super soul, karma, maya takes care. But to those who are attentive to Krishna, to hearing, chanting his glories, Krishna is attentive to them. The purpose of pilgrimages is to remember the Lord constantly. And therefore the Lord is known as Tirtha Kirti. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get a chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India. For example, in Mathura and Vrindavan, where we had a chance to stay. People are awake from early in the morning, 4 a.m., up until nighttime, and are constantly engaged some way or other in chanting the holy names, holy glories of the Lord. The beauty of such a pilgrimage site is that automatically one remembers the holy glories of the Lord. His name, fame, qualities, form, pastimes, and entourage are all identical to the Lord. And therefore, chanting the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. Anytime or anywhere pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord is present without any doubt. It is said that by the Lord himself, that he is always staying where his pure devotees chant his glories. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purport of the third canto, first chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by Vidura. I need to change the title. Questions by Vidura. So, when you glorify the Lord, he is personally present without doubt. It's just that we are disconnected to accept or disconnected to experience that. If we continue hearing the glories of the Lord, chanting his name, form, pastimes, qualities, entourage, we will constantly become purified. We will constantly be in association with Krishna. We will be sheltered. We will be protected. And we will come one day to that realization of personally seeing, witnessing, experiencing the full glory and association of Krishna. We simply have to constantly keep hearing and chanting. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai, Go Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo. Next week we'll continue with chapter 2. Are there any questions, comments, anyone else? Bhaktivinoda Prabhu says, I think we are so accustomed to material love. We therefore have challenge seeing pure love transcendental. Yes. We are so accustomed to material love that we don't even know what it is. We have incomplete understanding of what material love is. In fact, it's a perverted form of love even. And through that perverted form of love, we cannot understand transcendental love. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada mercifully gave us nectar of devotion, that experience that shares what is real transcendental love. And we have to transcend material love and material relationships, material lust, to enter into a loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by Srila Prabhupada's blessings and mercy, we're on that path where we are now learning about Krishna's love through the associates of the Bhagavatam that I mentioned in Bhagavatam. We're actually learning how Krishna is responding, Krishna is reciprocating. Why is reciprocating this way? Why is reacting in this way? What makes us more attached to him? How to purify our love? How to see we're not moving in the right direction for this transcendental love. So Prabhupada is revealing through his Bhaktivedanta purports these subjects. Shamananda Prabhu says, thanks Prabhu and Maharaji for these Srimad Bhagavatam sessions, really enriching and helping us on the path, many points and reminders to consider. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you for being present so that we can share and go through the Bhagavatam. All right. Nonetheless, Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the wonderful Krishna Katha. Chapter 1 flew by. Yeah, chapter 1, sure enough, flew by. Yes. All right, wonderful. Right, text 43 speaks about the currents happening here in South Africa and the world. Yes. The reality, we cannot escape, and we know the solution. Collectively, we need to really come up to living the Bhagavatam so that we can present this solution as a practical reality. This is really what we need to do, because this is the only solution. There is no other solution. And this solution is for all living entities. Wonderful. Thank you very much for everyone's time. We shall meet again next week. Kantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo.